about Smithills Hall. Imagine a cold, mysterious mansion where unseen hands scuttle around, where citizens feel like they are being watched. This is the unknown horror of Smithills Mansion. Many years ago, near 1335, the Saxons built a mansion that dominates the northeast entrance to Bolton. Then, 3 families decided to live there. Interestingly, the 3 families were called the Ainsworths, the Bartons, and the De Ratcliffes. Suddenly, a few years later, other people had experienced paranormal activity, but throughout the centuries, the Victorians and Tudors made more rooms to Smithills. Once a man from Bolton Church called George Marsh was a Protestant vicar who had his trial at Smithills Hall. Then, one day, Mary I, Bloody Mary, wanted him to change to a Catholic. But unfortunately, he said that he refused and banged his foot in the floor. Then he got burnt at the stake. Now they say that they saw a man staring at them through the window, floating. When they removed the footprint, a lot of paranormal activity happened, such as doors slamming and ropes swinging in his room. However, sometimes the temperature always drops down slowly, quietly. Now visitors are always intimidated to enter this cursed mansion.
Astonishingly, Smithills Hall is still standing after 700 years. The colossal Tudor manor that dominates the northern entrance to Bolton is home to paranormal activity. Even though it was built in 1335, Smithills Hall is now a museum to show its past. The unbelievable old house has been mainly owned by the Bartons, De Ratcliffes and Ainsworths families. A dreadful fire burned the roof in 1857. No one was hurt, thankfully, and it was restored. The house was used for trials in the Tudor period after this. George Marsh was a Protestant vicar and had a trial as he would not become Catholic. So he was burned on the stake. He died on 14th April 1555. His footstep is still here today, as when it was removed, paranormal activity started, but when it was replaced, it all stopped. Many people feel ill at ease when in the green room and see him glide across the room.
I'm reporting live from Smithills Hall. Imagine a Tudor mansion where paranormal activity threatens people. Trials were held. This is the legend of Smithills Hall. Smithills Hall is over 700 years old. Extensions were made during Tudor times and a black and white frame was added to the side of the hall. Also, a Victorian extension was added. Smithills Hall dominates most of the northeast entrance to Bolton. Unbelievably, the hall was built in 1335. 3 families lived here. They were the Ratcliffes, Bartons and the Ainsworths. Sadly, in 1857, the roof of the building was disintegrated by a terrible fire. However, it was greatly reconstructed. Smithills Hall has held trials in the Tudor times. George Marsh. George Marsh was a Protestant vicar a Church of England vicar. Amazingly, he had his trial at Smithills Hall. Mary I, Bloody Mary, wanted him to become Catholic. However, he disobeyed her to change from Christian, so he was tried. Unfortunately, he died on April 14th, 1555, by being burnt at the stake. After his trial, at the bottom of the staircase, he stabbed his foot and made a foot-shaped dent in the floor. Weirdly, the family that lived there removed the tile and put it outside, but then tons of paranormal activity started to happen. So once they put the tile back, it stopped. And people are seeing a tall black man watching them in different places. They say it is related to George Marsh.
This is Josh reporting live. Imagine a Tudor mansion where paranormal activity threatens people, where trials have been held. This is the legend of Smithills Hall. The Tudor house is positioned in northern Bolton, which is a very popular building. Astonishingly, Smithills Hall was built in 1335. However, there have been extensions in Victorian times and Tudor times. Even though three families have lived here, now it is a museum for local people to go and view. As the years went by, the roof of Smithills Hall was burnt by fire. However, it had been reconstructed. Unbelievably, a lady has been seen sitting on the front pew. A long figure has been seen praying at the altar. People have got the feeling of an invisible hands touching them. As a woman was taking out dead flowers, was pushed into a wall. She has still got the scars to prove it. In 1950, human bones were found under the floorboards in the chapel. Some of the people say the pew is clean, others say it is not.
Imagine a country mansion over 700 years old, where danger lurks around every corner, where visitors dare not to enter. This is Smithills Hall. Historically, people had trials at Smithills Hall in Tudor period. Astonishingly, Smithills Hall was built in 1335 and has had extensions in Tudor and Victorian period. The Tudor house is positioned in the north-east entrance to Bolton. Even though Smithills Hall was a family home, now it's just a chilling, stark, damp mansion. Smithills Hall has a long history associated with paranormal activity, which has started and excited loads of visitors. George Marsh. Cruelly, George Marsh had a trial at Smithills Hall because he was a Protestant vicar. Cruelly, Mary I, Bloody Mary, wanted him to become Catholic, and he refused. So he was sentenced to death to be burnt on the stake. Even though he was burnt on the stake, his spirit still went back to Smithills Hall. We know this because visitors have been saying they've seen a tall dark man floating on the floor in George Marsh's room. Also, the temperature was dropping, and some people said they feel ill at ease in his room. Shockingly, in his room the ropes were swinging where he was tried.